Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a review for Jessica Jones Season 2. So let's start talking about this. Just finished binging. I know other people are quicker bingers than me, but I finished it in a week or so, or a little less than a week. So let's get started. There will be spoilers in this review, so if you haven't watched Jessica Jones, watch it first and then come back to the review. But what did I think of overall? What was my initial thoughts here? I really liked this season. I know that other people didn't. I think people enjoyed season 1 a bit more, and I get that. But there's a lot of themes I thought they did well here. A lot of interesting relationship dynamics, and the center of this whole show obviously being family and a relationship between mother and daughter and how that can be complicated. And I really like that. So I enjoyed this season. I know some people also had pacing problems. So for me, the only pacing problem I would say is that I think the reveal of who the villain was and in her backstory could have been maybe an episode or 2 earlier. I don't know if the show had to be 13 episodes, maybe like 11 or 10 would have made this a bit of a stronger season, but I wasn't bored at all watching this show, unlike maybe some of the other Marvel shows where I think they've had major pacing problems. I think this was one of the stronger ones where I wanted to watch the next episode, with anticipation. Even by the end of the season, I'm like, where's the next episode? Definitely gets you anticipated for season 3. Now let's go into the characters. I'm going to save Trish for last because I think she's the one that's a bit more polarizing, and she's my favorite of the characters in Jessica Jones and the Marvel Netflix show. So I'm going to save Trish for last. First character, I guess, would be the slight negative I have for this season also is Jerry's character. I really liked her arc of her finding out that she has a disease that is going to kill her, and what she goes through to kind of understand what to treasure in life, in a way. Is personal things important? Are relationships important? I don't know if she learned her lesson by the end, but she knows that life is precious. So I like that. I like the story. Just don't know if it really fit for this season. Every single time we went back to Jerry, it didn't really connect to Trish or Jessica, who were kind of the more main components, and Malcolm from this season, and of course the whole IGH stuff. So Jerry's storyline, like I said, wasn't boring or bad. It just kind of felt off. And very much a B/C story for this whole entire season. It wasn't just an episode. The whole season, it felt like this own thing, and it just didn't make the season as cohesive as it could have been. Now moving on to Malcolm for this season. Malcolm, I really liked his arc. Him, dealing with his drug issues and trying to be in recovery. And then you have the reverse with Trish, which I'm going to get into, but I do want to touch on her drug storyline, where you see that, yes, every day is a struggle and you can relapse. And I feel that with a lot of shows, they use drug use as just a plot device. It never really tells the full story of, yes, someone can relapse. This is what actually happens. And I think Jessica Jones did a really good job at showing the realities of drug use and between Malcolm and Trish, with those two characters. So I appreciate that it wasn't just under the rug. It's like, oh, Malcolm is cured, so I'm glad that not every episode, but every once in a while is reminded he took drugs, and every day he has to go over that hurdle. And we get to see those temptations through, obviously, Trish's character, who goes back into taking drugs in some sort of way, or at least addiction. And we see Malcolm's addiction in another way, that he's having sex with all these girls. So he's addicted, he put his addiction into something else. So I really enjoyed Malcolm's arc and how they dealt with that. Now, going into Jessica and her mother, so, which is the spoiler of the season, but I really like this complicated relationship, and you see that dynamic between Trish and her mother too, of course, like, oh, I hate you, I don't want to talk to you, but it's your mother. You're gonna go back. And the same thing for Jessica, where she has this struggle throughout the whole season. Is like, who am I? Am I a monster? Am I a hero? That's also a big question that I guess is a lead up from Defenders. There's not actually a lot of Defenders mentioned here, but the only lead up being, am I a hero? And if I'm not, what does that make me? Am I a murderer? And I liked how they utilized Purple Man in this season, where he's only in the one episode, and it's more of in Jessica's head and her contemplating of what type of person she is. I really like that. I know obviously there's complaints of like, oh, well, I enjoyed Purple Man, I want to see more of him. And honestly, I didn't. I think it would have ruined the season if we saw more of him. It shows that the show's a one-trick pony, and it relies so much on that character. And what I liked about this season, that it's not. This whole arc was very different from the comics. It was its own thing to dig deeper into Jessica's character that the comics didn't even do. This is a completely new, fresh storyline. So I enjoyed that. So that fight of what is a hero, but in a more realistic tone. And again, that's with Trish and Jessica here. And yeah, Jessica's mother being, by the end, where you're like, I understand why Jessica wants to protect her. And that makes a good villain, where the villain's not totally mustache twirling. You understand her, and you understand her motives, especially as a mother. You know, somebody who is a mother, you could definitely understand that. Or as a mother character. So I enjoyed that aspect of the season. And then, yeah, Jessica had a really interesting arc overall. I think it's a good lead up from the Purple Man arc, in my opinion. Now, going into Trish's character. Now, I know people probably either upset or happy with her arc. I've heard complaints saying, oh, the whole downward spiral that they didn't like. I like this downward spiral. I already talked about it in the drug point of view, but I think Trish had to go through this to become a hero next season, to become Hellcat, which obviously in that last scene we see that she got powers. And I like this idea that Trish is not a perfect character. She's not. She loves power in a way. She, in a way, loves fame, even though she tries to push it away. She loves the power of fame, and she wants the same power as Jessica. So yes, she's a flawed character, but that's what makes all these characters so interesting, is how flawed they are. And Trish, especially here, I thought they did that flawed nature so well, and her making that choice, and her actually thinking that she's right. She said, I killed your mother because it was for you, Jessica, and I thought that scene was very powerful, and I'm sure next season it's going to be about Jessica reconnecting to Trish and reconnecting to Malcolm and her trying to live, because that was the point of the end of the season where she's having dinner with Oscar. But yeah, Trish, I like that complication. I'm really excited to see where she takes that into this hero world. I'm sure she's going to be the hero that is more common in the comics. You know, Jessica, she doesn't paint herself as a hero at all until maybe she's getting used to it by the end of this season, where she, you know, stops the mugger, is kind of proud of it. Now, Trish, I think she's going to go all out. She's going to get the costume. And I see her mother capitalizing on that. I see it's like, all right, you want to be a superhero? That's the next place you go with your brand. And I don't think Trish wants a brand. I don't think that's part of, I mean, obviously that's part of the fame and power that she craves, and she doesn't know that she craves it. But her mother's really going to capitalize on that. And I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic. And really they explored that well here too, of her own relationship with her mother and why she kind of goes down this route. But also, again, the complicated relationships. You get to see it between Jessica and her mother, but there's multiple times in this season where Jessica says, this is my sister, you know, and same for Trish, because they are sisters. And that's why they always stick together. They kind of wrong each other a lot of ways, but that's why they stick together in the end. So we'll see if family kind of comes back into the forefront with next season. That's going to be an interesting thing to see. Will Jessica forgive Trish? And yeah, we'll have to see. I thought that scene was just so well done, when Trish kills the mother. I thought that was just such a good scene, and I just love their relationship, because last season was more like, you know, we're friends. They were reconnecting. Trish wanted back in Jessica's life, and she was more a perfect, not perfect character, but she didn't have as many flaws as she did this season. I really like that about Trish here. And so excited for her Hellcat stuff. So, overall, I give this season 4.5 stars. I honestly really enjoyed it. I liked a lot of the themes being shown here, and it was different from its first season, and I think that's what made this season so enjoyable for me. Now, I understand why people might not like the season as much, and I totally, you know, again, understand those comments and respect those comments. But yeah, I'm really excited for the next season of Jessica Jones. Hopefully we don't have to wait as long. It doesn't look like we will. So hopefully next year, around this time, we will get more Jessica Jones. But let me know in the comments below, what did you think about this on Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Comic Frontline? We'll have a Media Madness episode digging even deeper into this show, so be sure to check that out. So don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there are links to my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.